The banking app glowed against the dark interior of my car. $0. Not pending. Not processing. Just gone. My fingers tightened around the steering wheel until my knuckles blanched. The $28,000 I had scraped together for my father's heart surgery, extra shifts, missed holidays, skipped everything, had vanished in a single transfer. My phone buzzed in my hand. A message from Serena lit up the screen. Dad is fine on medication for now. I need this exclusive Bali retreat for my brand sponsorships. You're single. Just pick up a few extra night shifts. Don't be dramatic. The sharp scent of bleach from my 14-hour shift still clung to my scrubs. My stomach twisted into a cold, hard knot. I threw the phone onto the passenger seat, shoved the car into drive and headed straight for my parents' house. My name is Nicole. I'm 32 years old. For the past 5 years, my life has been a blur of 12-hour emergency room shifts, vending machine dinners, and funneling every spare dollar into a medical fund for my father. That account wasn't savings. It was survival. But Serena didn't believe in survival. She believed in optics. To her followers, she was a high-frequency wellness influencer. Glossy photos, curated gratitude, filtered sunsets. In reality, she was drowning in $40,000 of hidden credit card debt. The exclusive Bali retreat wasn't self-care. It was a last-ditch attempt to secure a luxury sponsorship before her brand, and her marriage to Gary, collapsed under the weight of lies. I pushed open my parents' front door without knocking. The living room smelled of expensive vanilla candles. Serena lounged across the velvet couch, scrolling through first-class upgrade options. Gary sat beside her with a craft beer in hand. My parents were across from them, sipping tea like it was an ordinary Tuesday. My father wouldn't look at me. He stared at the rug and muttered that he'd given Serena the banking password. Said she needed capital for her brand. My mother set her teacup down with a sharp clink. Your sister is mentally fragile right now, Nicole, she snapped. Consider this an advance on taking care of us. You don't have a mortgage. You don't have children. Stop being selfish. The air felt thin. For years I had sacrificed vacations, relationships, sleep, everything, to keep this family steady. They looked at me and saw nothing but a reliable withdrawal. I swallowed the acid rising in my throat and forced my face into a calm, practiced smile. You're right, Mom, I said softly. Then I turned to Serena. International wire transfers can be complicated. Let me help you finalize it. The bank's VIP lounge smelled of polished leather and espresso. Serena sat across from me, her designer heel tapping nervously against the marble floor. She checked her gold watch for the third time in 10 minutes. Her flight to Bali left in 48 hours. She needed the money cleared. I slid a glass of iced water across the table. The $28,000 transfer triggered an anti-money laundering hold, I said evenly. International wires over $10,000 require secondary authorization. The fraud department just emailed Dad a secure DocuSign link to release the funds. Serena rolled her eyes. This is ridiculous. She already had Dad's email password saved. Of course she did. Her manicured nails tapped aggressively as she logged in. I'll just sign it for him. He barely knows how to open email anyway. I leaned back and took a slow sip of water. The cell service in here is terrible. Use the bank's public Wi-Fi. It loads faster. Without looking up, she connected to the network, opened the secure link and signed our father's name with a lazy swipe of her finger. Done, she sighed, tossing the phone onto the table. Can we wrap this up? I have a packing fitting. He smiled at me, confident. Untouchable. She forgot something. I work in emergency medicine. I document everything. By connecting to the bank's monitored network and signing a federally flagged document from her personal device, she had just provided a precise IP address, device ID, timestamp, and digital signature. It wasn't a favor. It was evidence. Serena leaned back and crossed her legs. She lifted the complimentary champagne flute. Gary clinked his glass against hers. They were already celebrating a vacation paid for with my exhaustion. The door opened. Not a concierge. 3 men in dark suits stepped inside. The bank manager followed behind them, pale and silent. The lead agent walked directly toward the couch. Serena. She lowered her glass, confusion flickering across her face. Yes. Who are you? Federal Bureau of Investigation. His voice was calm and final. You are under arrest for federal bank fraud and identity theft. The champagne flute slipped from her hand and shattered against the marble floor. Champagne sprayed across her designer heels as the glass shattered at her feet. Serena scrambled backward into the couch cushions, breathing fast and shallow. Sweat dotted her forehead. The color drained from her face until she looked almost gray. Wait, no, she stammered, her voice cracking. This is a misunderstanding. It's my father's account. I'm authorized. We have the digital record of the forged transmission from your personal device, the second agent said calmly. He pulled out a pair of steel handcuffs. Stand up, please. Gary jumped to his feet, but not to defend her. He stepped back until his spine hit the wall, hands raised like he wanted no part of it. His eyes were wide, terrified. He looked at Serena as if she were a stranger holding a bomb. The agents lifted her from the couch. The cuffs snapped shut around her wrists. The sharp metallic click cut through the room. She locked eyes with me. For the first time in her life there was no confidence there. Only raw fear. The glamorous wellness influencer dissolved in seconds. For years she had mistaken access to other people's money for power. She believed luxury labels and curated retreats made her superior. But power built on stolen credit isn't power. It's fantasy. Strip away the $28,000. Strip away the unauthorized access. The illusion collapses. There was no enlightened guru left, just a desperate woman facing federal charges. Nicole, she screamed as they pulled her toward the lobby. Tell them it's family money. I lifted my iced water and took a slow sip. Family ties don't make wire fraud legal, Serena. My parents put their 3-bedroom house up as collateral to post her bail. They mortgaged their entire future to protect her. 48 hours later, my hospital badge flashed red at the staff entrance. Access denied. 2 security guards escorted me to a small windowless HR office. The director slid a document across the desk. An anonymous complaint had been filed with the state medical board. The accusation: stealing fentanyl from the emergency department. That claim triggered an automatic Pyxis audit. Mandatory suspension. Immediate removal of credentials. I was walked out through the front doors like a criminal. Serena wanted me to feel what she felt when those cuffs closed around her wrists. Helpless. Exposed. Powerless. She had broken the younger version of me years ago, the one desperate for family approval. But that girl was gone. I was driving down the interstate when my car's Bluetooth lit up with her name. I answered. Her voice poured through the speakers, thick with smug satisfaction. How was work today, Nicole? Oh wait. You don't have a job anymore. My hand stayed steady on the wheel. Above my rearview mirror my dash cam blinked red, recording. Drop the federal charges, she sneered. Or I'll make sure the nursing board revokes your license permanently. I'll tell them you were selling drugs on the street. In my state, recording a call without consent is illegal, unless the other person knows it's being recorded and keeps talking. I spoke clearly, calmly. I'm driving, Serena. My dash cam is actively recording this conversation. Stop threatening me. Silence. 2 seconds. Then her ego took over. I don't care who hears it, she screamed. You ruined my life over some stupid medical fund. Drop the case or I will destroy your career. You are nothing without that hospital. I smiled. So, hold steady. Thank you, Serena, I said quietly before ending the call. She thought she had just tightened the noose around my neck. Instead, she'd handed the district attorney a clean, recorded threat. Witness intimidation, clear and prosecutable. I drove straight to the district attorney's office. The small silver flash drive rested in my palm, heavier than it looked. Inside it was her voice, her rage, her threats, her confession. I handed it to the clerk without ceremony. 72 hours later, the prosecutor added a formal witness intimidation charge to Serena's indictment. The fallout was immediate. Gary didn't stand by her. The moment the additional felony appeared in public record, he vanished. I received a single hollow text. I'm filing for divorce. Don't drag me into this. Neighbors later told me they watched him load his golf clubs into his trunk and drive off, leaving Serena alone in a county jail cell. My parents couldn't rescue her either. The $28,000 was seized as criminal evidence. Without access to it, they couldn't pay the bondsman. Foreclosure proceedings began on their house. the same house they'd leveraged to protect her. They gambled their stability on a lie. And the house always wins. On Tuesday morning my phone rang. It was the hospital's HR director, her tone overly sweet. She apologized for the misunderstanding. The Pyxis audit had cleared me completely. No missing medication. No discrepancies. She offered me a promotion to shift charge nurse, as if a title could repair public humiliation. I listened to the end of her rehearsed script. I don't work for institutions that question my integrity, I replied calmly. Then I hung up. By Friday afternoon my apartment was empty. I'd signed a premium travel nursing contract 3 states away. I sat in my packed car and opened my contacts. I blocked my father. Then my mother. No speech. No explanation. I pulled onto the highway with nothing but the hum of the engine and the open road ahead. Months later the gavel struck in federal court. Serena was sentenced to 6 years, eligible for parole after 4. The judge ordered $42,000 in restitution, covering the stolen medical fund and fines. Gary's divorce finalized soon after. Back home the social consequences were brutal. The church group learned the truth. The neighbors learned. The hospital staff learned about the false accusation. My parents tried to attend Sunday service, but the room went cold when they walked in. The bank foreclosed on their home just before Thanksgiving. Serena's polished influencer empire evaporated into nothing. 7 months after the trial, a thick envelope arrived at my new apartment in Colorado. The return address listed a county correctional facility. 9 pages. Through the thin paper I could make out the first lines. I'm still your sister. I did it for the family. You owe me forgiveness. A year ago that letter would have destroyed me. I would have reread every word, wondering if I'd been too harsh. This time I felt nothing. I carried the unopened envelope to my office and fed it into the shredder. The mechanical whir was steady, final. I stepped onto my balcony. The mountain air was crisp and clean. My friend Sarah joined me, handing me a mug of coffee. Inside, a few coworkers and neighbors laughed over dinner preparations. For the first time in my life, I had a chosen family. People who respected boundaries, asked about my day, and never expected me to bankroll their fantasies. The chaos of my past felt distant, almost unreal. Growing up in a toxic family teaches you roles. The responsible one, the fixer, the provider. You're trained to believe your worth lies in what you can give. But walking away taught me 3 truths. First, blood alone doesn't make a family. Loyalty and respect do. Biology is not a lifetime contract to endure abuse. Second, true narcissists don't wake up one day with clarity and remorse. They stop only when firm boundaries, and sometimes legal consequences, force them to. And third, peace begins the moment you stop trying to rescue people who are actively drowning you. I am Nicole. And I am free. So ask yourself, how much of your life are you burning just to keep toxic people warm? How many tears have you given to those who see you only as a resource? If your sacrifice only feeds their entitlement, maybe it's time to choose yourself. I already know what you're thinking. Why didn't Nicole call the police the second she saw her account drained to 0? Why drive to her parents' house? Why smile and agree to help the very sister who just robbed her? From the outside it looks irrational. But psychology rarely looks dramatic while you're living inside it. Nicole wasn't stupid. She wasn't weak. She was caught in something psychologists call intermittent reinforcement. The slot machine effect. If a slot machine swallowed your money and never paid out, you'd walk away almost immediately. But toxic families don't operate that way. Every so often they hand you a crumb. A rare compliment, a fleeting smile, a moment where you finally feel like the good daughter. That tiny emotional payout keeps you pulling the lever. Year after year you invest time, money, energy, sanity, chasing the jackpot of unconditional love that never actually arrives. The difference is this. Nicole finally stopped pulling the lever. And when she did, she didn't unravel. He strategized. Let's break down what she actually did, because this wasn't revenge. It was financial self-defense. First, the audit strategy. Scammers, especially the ones who share your last name, thrive on confusion and guilt. They depend on emotional chaos to avoid scrutiny. Serena assumed family loyalty would override accountability. Nicole didn't argue. She didn't plead. She redirected everything into documentation. She guided Serena into completing transactions herself, creating a clean digital paper trail. IP addresses, login records, time stamps. Lesson: when money is involved, stop debating and start documenting.